الشيطان الرجيم Bismillahir, Rahim Alhamdulillah wahda Wassalatu wassalamu ala man la nabiyya ba'da Amma ba'd Last night we had the program where Dr. Mateen had shared photos and shared his experience while he was in Gaza. And there were many points that I myself personally took away from that, but one of the things that I wanted to mention this morning that I thought was very impactful just for me personally was the people of Gaza and how generous they were and concerned about their guests, what they considered to be their guests, even though they're not really in a position to host. They're not like you would think of when you think of a host, you think of someone who has like a palace, a ballroom, has servants, lots of food, different types of drink, different types of all just different things to offer. I mean, when you mentioned host, who's going to be hosting a group of 15 people. Like, this is what you think, and they're not in the position, because they themselves, as we saw from the presentation, they are in need. The trucks with the supplies, the food, and the things they need are basically stopped before even being able to get into to the country. However, with all of that, they're still concerned with their guests and being hospitable to their guests. And I don't know if anybody else noticed what Dr. Mateen has said, that chicken and beef is not readily available in Gaza. It's not something that's readily available. However, the first day when they showed up, knocking on the door, presenting them with rice and vegetables, right, and being hospitable, then a couple days later, what do they get? Get some chicken. Now there's chicken several days in a row. Not only do they have chicken, but they have chicken several days in a row. Then he mentioned that beef was extremely rare in Gaza, and then they also ended up having beef. So in the 2 weeks, or I think it was the 2 weeks that he spent there, they were having chicken multiple times, beef, like the barakah of giving and sharing, even when they themselves are in great need. I mean, if you think about just this portion of the presentation from last night, you think that this is the embodiment of the statement of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَيُثِرُونَ عَلَىٰ أَنفُسِهِمْ وَلَوْ كَانَ بِهِمْ خَصَاصَةٌ, and they prefer others over themselves, even when they themselves are in great need. This right here is an example of that in our time today, that we can actually witness with our own two eyes. And so this, again, there were many things to take away from last night, many different points, many benefits. But this here, I think, for myself, just for myself personally, was something that was impactful to me, to actually see people who are living in a state where no one would blame them. No one would ever blame them if they never showed up to offer anything. It's not expected, nor is it blameworthy. Actually, the opposite is what we would expect. We would expect for them to be waiting for us to bring them something. We're the people coming from first world country, coming from, quote unquote, United States of America, right? Bring supplies, bring food, bring them. I would not have blamed them if I would have saw a video of the people of Gaza saying, Dr. Mateen, give me, Dr. Mateen, give me. I would not have blamed them. But that's not what we saw, and that's not what was testified to. What was testified to was that when they arrived, they say, listen, we don't have much, but look, we're going to share with you what we have. And this is one of the things that I was talking about the other day, if you remember, about the people of Gaza and the things that we learn from them is, to stand up for our religion, to stand up for our deen, to stand up for what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has commanded in all situations, in all circumstances. The success is going to be from us obeying Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And we can learn from these individuals that, portions of our religion, especially in this case where the concern for others, the thought about others, putting someone else before yourself. And this is extremely important because at a time when they're being attacked, we saw the video. So multiple videos where the attacks were being caught on film at the time where you don't know if there's going to be another missile attack. There's no way to prepare for it. As he mentioned that you hear the explosion, then you hear the sound of the plane going with it. There's no even way to prepare for this. In the middle of all of that, they're showing up saying, here, we have some food for you. We were thinking about you. You are our guests. Here's some food for you. This is the life of the Muslim. That no matter what's going on, no matter what, as they say, life. I don't like to use that term, but as they say, life is happening. No matter what's happening, life is happening. No matter what's happening, they're still doing the best that they can with whatever it is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given. And so we also should be doing the best that we can with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. Because Allah right now has given us more than just rice and vegetables. Right? Right now, last night, after we left the program, we had a spread, and we got home. We called our wives, probably look on them on my way home, get the spread ready. There was tea, probably, maybe crackers, dates, some biryani, right? Whatever it is that we had last night. Then this morning, we're going to turn around hours later, and we're going to have another spread. We have another spread. We'll leave the message and say, text your wife and say, look, I'm on my way home. Get the spread ready. And then for lunch is going to be the same thing. For snack is going to be the same thing. Our lives are, if you look at it, it's pretty good. Our lives are pretty good. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. And if those individuals in the situation that they're in, they're still working with whatever it is that they have, the little bit that they have, they're still holding on to Allah's book and practicing what they have the ability to practice, then that should be a lesson for us, a reminder for us that we should be holding on with what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. And so this is what I wanted to point out. As I said last night, there was multiple things, multiple pieces of benefit that I personally took. This is one of the things that I was just thinking about during the presentation. And I'm sure that many others of you also had many different points of benefit that you also benefited from. Let's not just allow for these pictures to just become a program that we did at MCMC. But these things are reminders, these are ayat that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends our way so they can become impactful on us and on our lives. Not not just for something that we can just talk about in our gatherings, but something that really should be life-changing. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala helps us, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us. Ask Allah Azza wa Jal to protect our brothers and sisters in Gaza. May Allah Azza wa Jal help them and give them victory over their enemies.